Welcome everybody. My name is Ruin and I am doing a live class here from Toronto, Canada. Today, the live class is going to be on the cryptocurrency trading bots. This class is not going to be focused on more of a financial side, but we will be taking a very brief, grocery kind of a things that you need to program a very basic trading bot. So the main idea behind this trading bot is we are not going to go to, all the UIs of all the cryptocurrency centralized exchanges like Coinbase, Binance, BitMEX, Kraken, etc. Instead, we're gonna create like a code which is going to talk with all of these cryptocurrency exchanges, and we're gonna take two examples of how we can use it and what sort of trading that we can do with it. So this is going to be more of the coding side of the class rather than the finance. However, we will be, as I said, we'll be covering, some part of the finances that will be, utilized while coding. So about me, so as I said, my name is Dhruvin and I have more than 3 years of experience in the blockchain space. I'm currently a senior blockchain developer in Capital Methods, which is a startup company based in Toronto, and I'm helping them build a next generation yield optimizer platform that basically integrates with all the popular DeFi protocols across Ethereum and Polygon chains as of now. That's a basic introduction about my technical side. As far as the teaching experience goes, I have more than 2 years of teaching experience in blockchain space. And I started as a blockchain professor with George Brown College, where I'm teaching smart contracts and decentralized applications. Also, I am a part-time instructor at York University, where I am teaching the same sort of a curriculum in a different package manner. So that's all about my introduction. The plan for the live class is going to be, we're going to walk through the basic terminology, that will be coming across down the course, of this class. We're going to also dive into why there is a need to, create a trading bot and, a very brief reason that I have already given while I actually started the class. How you can develop your own trading bot, we're going to look into that. We will be also looking into what should be the ideal architecture of an end-to-end trading bot that you can actually, put into production and actually on, some revenue over it. However, we're gonna focus on a very subset of the full architecture of the trading bot. And that should be basically, good enough to get you started with, all sort of, coding the bot for the production purpose. And then it will be followed by the demo and question and answers. And that we're gonna, and that is when we're gonna wrap this. That is when we're gonna wrap this live class. So let's start with a very popular term that is being used nowadays in in trading space. Arbitrage is something which have been used in the traditional finance as well, but in cryptocurrency exchanges, we do have a scope, or we do have an opportunity to arbitrage. However, nowadays arbitrage has become a little bit difficult because there are lots of nodes which are doing this arbitrage. So what is arbitrage, right? So arbitrage is, you have an exchange A, you have another exchange B. And what you could do with exchange A and exchange B is take the advantage of the price difference of, an asset. For example, ETH and USDT is priced at, 1, and in other exchange, it's priced at 1.5. So there is a clear profit of 0.5 in the other exchange. So what you're going to do is, if you have funds in exchange A, you're going to buy at the cheaper rate, and you're going to use the same asset which you bought from exchange A, you're going to sell it to exchange B, and you made profit of 0.5. per unit. So if you will be purchasing more of the units, you're gonna get more profit. So that's a simple arbitraging. And this arbitraging is basically done quickly if you know like how to code, and if you have access to proper tech stacks, and using that you will be able to quickly grab the opportunity, and you can create the order and you can execute the order, and yeah, that's how you can make a profit. However, arbitrage is never, there is never a guarantee that you're gonna create a profit, because there are lots of other hidden expenses like trading fees, price slippage, and several other particulars depending on what exchange you are going to deal with. So just a moment ago we talked about the term called price slippage. So what price slippage is? It's the simple formula to calculate the price slippage is the difference of the trade price which you were expecting, and the price at which the trade got executed. So that's basically what the price slippage is. So what could be the reasons that we will have a price slippage? So the simple reason that at a first insight that you could think of is due to high fluctuations in the market in very short period. So that could be the reason of price slippage. The thing is, the moment you are executing the order, there is a change in the price, and that may create trade happening at a different price than what you were expecting to happen, right? Another reason that is responsible for the price slippage is the trade volume which exceeds the existing the bid and ask spread. Bid ask spread is nothing but the range or the difference between the bidding price and the ask price of an asset. Next is as I talked about, trading, creating the order, executing the order. So how all this is being stored is in a data structure, and that data structure in terms of financial terms is known as an order book. Order book is nothing but a table. You can think of a table, or as this class is going to be focused on the Node.js technology, we're gonna say that it's a JSON object which contains, a list of bid and ask orders, right? So there will be a list where you will have all the bid and ask orders, which means that there will be some users who would like to, buy the assets at their predetermined price, and there will be users who would like to sell the assets. So selling the assets is known as an ask order, and when we list, or when we would like to create a buy request, that is what we call it as a bid order, right? So that creates like a JSON object, and that's what we call it as an order book. So the question is like, why do we need to have this order book? Now this order book is going to match if there is an intersection of bid and ask price. So if a user would like to buy 1 ETH, for example, for 2000 USDC, and there is the same user on the other end who would like to sell 2000 USDC for 1 ETH. So this creates basically order where a match happens, and that's where we do swapping of the assets, right? That's what an exchange is, and that's how order book can facilitate you to basically trade at prices, and a match can happen that way, right? So all these are the terminologies. We are not going to take like much time over all this glossary. This is like available over the internet where you can learn. The main focus in this class is going to be on the tech stack which we are going to use, and that's where my interest actually is in. So how you can create a programmable trading. Now, when we talked about arbitrage, we need to communicate with multiple cryptocurrency exchanges. So just I would like to make one thing clear before we move forward, that here in this live class we are going to focus on the centralized cryptocurrency exchanges and not the decentralized ones. Yeah, the focus is going to be on those exchanges, and that's where we have designed this class around. So basically, when we say that you can programmatically do a trading, that means you need to write a software. Now, the moment you think about writing a software, then the question will arise that how will you be able to make some communication with that exchanges? So for that we need an API, which stands for application programming interface, and each and every exchanges will have their own way of communicating and own way of fetching the historical data, creating the orders, getting the deposit address, fetching the balances of the assets that you have, and so on and so forth, right? And that is that is not uniform across all the financial exchanges. So that's where programmable trading, also known as a trading bot, comes to the rescue, where you can basically ask your trading bot that, hey, fetch the price from this exchange, fetch the price from this exchange. You can preach your trading bot that this is the logic which will actually mean that there is an arbitrage opportunity being there. Once you have that arbitrage opportunity, then you can trigger another logic. For example, I'll show you in one of the demo that one of the thing could be you can just ping some messages to your Telegram message bot, right? Another could be you can connect your bot with your mobile phone, where it basically creates a push notification that, hey, there is an arbitrage happening. If you are trusting your bot more, then you can go forward and you can also directly create a trade right from your bot that is going to buy the assets at a cheaper price from exchange A, and they're going to go and sell to exchange B. But before we jump into that, there are lots of validations that we need to do. There are lots of checks that we need to do. For example, if you are getting like 1% of change, that's not like a worth, that's not actually worth it, in my opinion. So we will be making some validations that, hey, if there is a profit of more than at least 6%, then please go ahead and give me the notification, execute the trade, create the order, and so on and so forth, right? And we can basically program a way based on our own experiences, that how frequently we would like to check. So all this stuff we will be taking a look during the demo. So a very high level, and listing the strategies of the trading bot would be some of the trends. For example, you are not worried about the sentiment. You basically don't take a look into what is the differences in the prices in different exchanges. You just follow the market data which you're getting, and that's going to trigger some logic. Next is arbitrage, which we just now talked about. Then we can have market making, wherein you are just doing a simple old school kind of a trade where you want to buy some script. You create order, you place an order. If order matches, it will execute, and you're gonna have the swapping of the exchanges happening, right? So that's basically the theoretical portion or background information which we need before we actually dive into programming of a cryptocurrency trading bot. So the very first step to start programming a cryptocurrency trading bot is through selection of the programming language. Now, I am proficient in JavaScript, so I'll say that, okay, I want to program a trading bot in JavaScript, right? Next comes is you need to go to different exchanges which you would like to trade, and you have to create an account there. So there is an assumption which is being made before we start the demo that you already have created your account in the exchange, is you have access to the API keys. And then comes the bot trading model, wherein you will be decide what sort of strategies that you want to keep. You just want to have like one strategy. You would like to have like multiple strategies, and that strategy should be scheduled at some point in time, or you just want to manually trigger the strategy. So all that comes under the bot trading model. Then based on the requirement that we have, we're gonna architect the bot, and then we'll start creating the bot by coding. Once we are done with that, we're gonna test. Now some of the exchanges, for example Kraken, Binance, they provide like a sandbox environment. Now the problem with the sandbox environment sometimes is they don't work well, or there is sometimes issues getting the API keys, right? It's not always, but sometimes. So you will have to do some work around as to figure out that, hey, if I would like to practice this trading bot before I actually do it, then where should I go? So that is one option. Another option could be just go to any of the exchange which is very cheaper, where you can spend like 20-30 bucks minimum, and then using that you can just play around like doing with any cheap coins, and that way you will be having a very less risk of losing the money, and at the same time you're gonna learn directly on the mainnet. So again, like, it is not at all wrong trying directly on their production environment, but just make sure you're not having the cryptocurrencies worth of lots of money. Just start with maximum 20-25 bucks, and there are lots of exchanges that accept that. The good example is Binance. After that, we gonna do the testing, which means that in terms of trading bot, we have like the backtesting. Backtesting means before you do any of the trade, you're gonna actually simulate, or you're gonna calculate that what is going to be the profit if you are going to sell at this price into some exchange B. Then okay, are you able to get the profit beyond the threshold which you have set or not? So that is what we call it in the backtesting, and these are all basically the validations that while we're coding, I'll walk you through. And then we can deploy it. You can start the bot. You can configure how much intervals you want to have the bot running. So what is the high level architecture of a typical trading bot? So if you want to create a production ready trading bot, then what are the components that we're gonna have? And then after in a bit, I'll be talking about what is the area that we will be focusing while we're gonna code the trading bot, right? So starting with the market data, of course, you need to get the market data for that. So the library that we're going to use to get the market data is what we call it as CCXT. CCXT is a cryptocurrency cryptocurrency exchange trading library, and we're going to talk about in depth about it in a bit, right? Okay. After that, we will be having some indicators, like you can use some super trends API, which is going to give you some indicators, and how you can do it is with using a popular JavaScript library called technical indicators, and it basically does all the analysis, and whatever the result of the analysis comes out, is what you're gonna get as an output. And what they're using is the candlestick data, right? So That's one thing. So we need market data. We need to, we need to do some technical analysis. That's where indicators are helpful. And whatever data comes up, we need to, log it into the database, right? Because at the end of the day, we would like to know how the performance of the pod is so that we can do some data analytics over the pod. So it's going to be like a central storage. Fine. After that, the next comes is our jobs, right? So jobs, which means that if I'm doing, arbitrage, then there will be, continuous script that is going to be run in the backend, which is going to, check for any intersection of pairs of scripts among, the exchanges of interest that you have already, programmed with. Once, so that is going to be running continuously, and whatever data that you would like to have it stored into the DB, you can, store it, right? And on the top of that, there could also be a very sophisticated algorithm that you can use, which is going to, have some combinations of indicators, when to enter and exit the trades, setting the orders, limiting the orders, and some of the stop prices. So that could be programmed using the algorithm. And then we have the jobs. As I said, it's going to be running the script that's talking to the market data. So this is like what the backend looks like. Now, once all these different individual components are ready, you can create a RESTful API server using a library called Express.js, or you can create GraphQL server using some libraries like Apollo GraphQL, which is going to serve your Telegram if you have one. So this is just an example which is given, like if you want any notifications or a message directly pushed to the Telegram channel or to your personal Telegram, then you can you can basically get it through the REST API. And then comes the front end. So of course, like if you would like to sell the bot, then you need to create a good front end. So it's always a good practice to have communication with the front end and the database through a middleware, which is known as a REST API, right? So basically, this is a very high level architecture of a crypto trading bot, which is again keeping in mind Node.js and all the libraries that are available around that. Next. So what we will be focusing, right? So we are actually going to focus on getting the market data, and using that market data, we are going to run some scripts, using using a very popular CLI tool in Node.js called PM2, which is like process manager for running Node.js scripts. And also it is useful for running Bash as well, but I'm not going to go into in depth of what PM2 is. I'll just give you a workaround. I'll just give you the knowledge that is required to trigger this bot. So let's take a look into the convenience crypto trading API called CCXT that is useful in connecting your trading bot to more than 150 Bitcoin and altcoin cryptocurrency exchanges. So this is a simple command that you have to basically use to install the CCXT in your Node.js application, right? So why do we need to use CCXT? So as I said in the beginning, that not everyone is going to trade on the same exchanges. Somebody will be trading on either Binance, BitMEX, somebody will be on Binance US, Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Kraken, KuCoin. So it's like, very difficult to, go here and there and, executing our strategies manually. So for that, we need some abstraction layer that's going to, talk with all of these exchanges, and that's where CCXT is useful. And the good news for this library are They are available in 3 different languages, namely Node.js, Python, and PHP. So if you are not a JavaScript guy, if you are a Python guy, then of course you can use the same with a little bit tweak in the code, of course. Before we jump into the basics of CCXT, I just want you to get acquainted to what is the library structure of CCXT. So they have got 2 types of functions. One is the public function and another are the private functions. Now, public functions doesn't require any API keys. You can directly, get some data, like if you want to get some markets, if you want to get a ticker data, if you want to fetch the order book, if you want to get, this candlestick data, then public functions can be useful. Whereas you want to just be specific to yourself, you want to just get the data specific to the user, then we have got private functions. Private functions means if you want to deposit some currency, you want to withdraw, you want to fetch, you want to create an order, cancel order, execute the order. All of these functions, they are under the private category of the CCXT, and they do require API key because that's a security issue as well. So there may be some of the public and private functions that may not be supported by some of the exchanges. However, most of the functions are supported across all the exchanges, and the main advantage of using CCXT is you don't need to learn about different APIs on different exchanges. You just have to get your hands on through the CCXT, and it is going to transpile in the way that those API or those exchanges like to get the request and return the response. Okay. So this is a simple, usage of the CXT. So let's take a look into, the basics of CCXT. So I'm just going to quickly change my screen, and I'm going to open up CCXT basics. So by the way, this is a simple Node.js application, which I spinned up using npm y init command, and that's where a Node.js application is initialized. You need to install CCXT by running the command install CCXT, right? And yeah, that's all you need for creating a bot. So let's first of all get ourselves comfortable with CCXT. So here, if I would like to grab an object of Kraken, for example, then I just have to say new CCXT.Kraken, right? Same goes for Bitfinex. Same, it goes for Huobi Pro. For example, if you would like to create a Binance object with API and secret, so that this is how you can do it, wherein you can get the exchange class. After you got the exchange class, you're gonna create a new, you're gonna instantiate an exchange with API and the secret. Now API and secret can be stored in .env, and then we can use a developer dependency called .env to read the secrets from our secret file. So this is how our secret file looks like. The name is .env, and this is an example of how it looks like. So we have Binance, we have Binance US, then followed with Kraken. It's public API and secret key, right? So there are some calls which we are making directly to the exchanges, starting with loading the markets, fetching the order book, fetching the ticker data. Then if you want to fetch the trade, there is a method available on CCXT. called fetch trades. If you want to, create limit sell order, then there is another function that's going to do that. So a quick run of this program is going to give you all the data which is required. So there's a lot of things which is getting console logged because it's fetching the data from the exchanges. So we don't have to worry about what's going on like behind the scenes, what sort of XCOs post requests are being made. It all does on its own. So again, so this is like a lot of data. Now our next script, we are going to be more specific to what we want to do. So this is a high level understanding of what CCXT is and how we can use it. So next, in the next example, we are going to look into printing all the exchanges which are available on CCXT. So I'm just going to comment the rest of the code as we don't need it. Okay, so let's focus on the code which is not commented. Okay, so what we're doing here is we are fetching all the exchanges which are supported by CCXT. So that's like the first, the first step that we have to always look into. What are the exchanges that are being actually supported? So in order to find that, just run the script. The name is one binance us.js, and you can see that it's going to create a JSON file called ccxt.exchanges.json. So if you look here, you'll be able to see that there is a file called ccxt exchanges is created. I'll just quickly format, and you can see that we're having some we are having 116 exchanges currently which are being supported by CCXT. So that includes Binance US, then we have Coinbase Pro as well, right? All right, so we know now that which are the exchanges that are actually supported. So let's try to get a market data from Binance. So for that, I have already grabbed the API key from Binance. You can go to binance.com and create your account, get the API key, and you can use it here. So I created API. It's there in my .env file, and if you are wondering how it looks like, so there is a section in .env called Binance API key, and then you can just paste your API here. Same way, the secret key can be also pasted here, and that's all you need to get started. All right. So next step that we need to do is fetching the market data. So for that, we have a function called load markets. This load market is going to create, is going to get stored into a JSON file called Binance market data.json. Now you might be wondering why I am, storing this data into a file. The reason is console log isn't enough to handle this much amount of data, so it's always good to store it in a file and then retrieve whenever we need it in the program, right? So here we're gonna get the data, store it into the file. Next is we're gonna read the file and assign it to the market variable, and that's where we will be able to fetch what markets are available, right? So this is a procedure. If you would like to get how many markets do we have available in an exchange called Binance, then this is like a step-by-step process to basically loop through it. So the first thing is get the market data, and the second is extract the markets which are available and then just store it in a file called Binance Market. So if I simply run this script again and just wait for it to get done. So now the script is done executing. So we should be looking for Binance market data.json. Now it's going to be a very big file, so I'm not going to format, otherwise it's going to take up a lot of time. So if you take a look here, the very first market that we got is ETH BTC, right? So there is a market where you can trade against ETH and BTC on Binance, and there are several other markets as well, which I'll be showing you in a bit. So these are the limits which we have here. This is the precision field that we get as a result of the market data. Then we have the taker details. We have the maker details. Taker and maker are the one who basically places the orders and places order of buy and sell. The one who places a sell order is known as a taker, and the one who places a buy order is known as maker, right? So there are a couple other details available in this market data as well, which are financial heavy as well, and you are expert in that. So what I did is I just fetched the market because I would like to know what market is available, before I jump into doing all the arbitrage. I have to first figure out that here, is there a market which is in Binance existing in Coinbase or Gemini or Kraken or not. So let me grab that. So I am storing that into Binance markets.json. So if I go to Binance market.json, which is here, and you can see that, I just fetched the market. So I basically, did some extraction over the previous JSON which I showed. So I can quickly, format this file. So you can see that we are having some, 1488 markets available currently on Binance. Yeah, right. All right. So this was for the Binance. Same way you can, do it for any other exchange that you want, and then we have to do some intersection, and that's where the arbitrage opportunity will be visible, right? All right. So similarly, you can do it for Binance as well. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch the balance which is there on Binance. Now, currently I have zero balance. I don't have any crypto, so I'll not be getting any data, but let's see what the response look like. So I'm going to comment the rest of the code, and now the focus is going to be on the Binance US. So I'll run the same script again, and you can see that there is one key called balances, which is empty, which means that I don't have any assets in my wallet. If you have assets in your wallet, then you'll be able to see the name of the asset and what is the quantity of asset that you have in this balances key, right? All right. The next application which will be useful for arbitraging is to fetching the ticker data. Now, for example, if I would like to fetch the ticker data for ETH and USDT, now how do I know that ETH USDT exists on Binance or not? Just a minute ago, we fetched the data from the Binance exchange, and there was one market called ETH and USDT, right? So we would like to fetch data. Now, we need to check whether the market exists or not. Otherwise, you're gonna get some errors, by fetching the data, because that market doesn't exist on that particular chain. So going back to the fetch ticker, just focus on the code which is uncommented as of now. So we're gonna get the ticker. Now the API function that we will be using for fetching the ticker data is known as fetch ticker. So same way, create a Binance object, use that object to access fetch ticker, past argument for which you want to get the ticker data, and quickly running this script, which is known as to dash fetch ticker, is going to get you the ticker data. Now, this ticker data will have, a couple of, it's going to have a bunch of details like what is the high price, what is the low price, what currently the price at which, ETH is bid in terms of USDT. You'll see that at what price did it open, at what price, did it close, and other information like the symbol. So the symbol that is being used is ETH USDT. What are the beat prices? What is the last quantity? So all this data that you need it for analysis can be made available using the fetch ticker API. Now, another care that you need to take in terms of fetching the ticker is, though it can be same, but there are some, exceptions where if you're moving forward with Coinbase, then Coinbase does not have ETH to USDT. Instead, they have like ETH to USD. So if you will be, querying for ETH USDT, then it's gonna give you the issue. So the question is, how do I know it? Of course, you will have to do some trial and error. You will have to do the testing, and that's where you will get to know. But I have done this previously, so I know that ETH USDT doesn't exist on Coinbase Pro. So yeah, I'll have to, use the one that is actually exist on Coinbase Pro. So node and so this is the data that I get from Coinbase Pro for ETH to USD, right? So there is a difference in the way that the responses are being received from several exchanges. So that needs to be taken care of. But the basic, data which will be there in the responses is going to be almost uniform across all the exchanges, right? The next comes up is fetching the candlelight data. Now, if you would like to get the data where, you would like to know that what was the high within a certain span of time, what was the high value, what was the low value, at what price did it open, at what price did it close. Now, if you want to look into that, then we are having a API function called fetch OHLCV, where you can specify the ticker, can specify what is the interval that you would like to get the candlelight data of, and you can also get how many samples you want. So here in this example, what I'm doing is I want to know the candlelight data for every 15-minute interval, and at the same time, I would like to only get just 5 samples. So that's what I'll be getting, and I'll be looping through the data to print it on the console. So here I'll be just running to fetch ticker.js, and you can see that I just get 5 data, and if this will be in UTC epoch timings. So if you will be doing the difference between 2 consecutive timing, you will exactly get a gap of 15 minutes, and this is a normal pattern of the data where it shows the time, the high price, low price, the price at which it is bidding, the current price, and what was when it went low, right? So all this pattern of the data you will be getting from Binance. All right, so basically this is how you can do some technical analysis using CTXT. Next is how to create a buy order. So creating a buy order could be initiated through fetching the balance. So the first thing that you need to do is to fetch the balance. So fetching the balance is a simple API function that you have to use called fetch balance. Now We're using the sandbox mode, but it sometimes doesn't really work because of the API key gets outdated. Uh, so let's try to use the API for the actual production testnet and then run this code. So you'll get an empty error just because I don't have any balance. However, um, you want to create an order on Kraken, for example. Uh, Here, Kraken. Here. So the simple way to do is get the object from the Kraken. For by the way, the setup is same. You have to install CCXT. You have to get all the API keys. You have to basically install .env. So all that setup is same. Create a file with .js extension. Make sure you always have enable rate limit to true, just because there are some exchanges which will blacklist your IP if you're making recursive calls. So just be aware of that. So again, we loaded all the markets. Once the markets are loaded, everything, all the messages will be displayed on the console. After that, we will be defining the symbol of the the assets that we would like to trade on, followed with all the market data that we need in order to pass to an argument of a function. Here I'm doing a leverage margin trading of say 2. So all this setup is done. After that, we're gonna place the order. So if you would like to place an order in any of the exchanges, then there is a function called create order, which you can use it in CCXT. And you can supply the symbol. You can supply the type of the order. So this is again a market order. We would like to buy with this amount, this much amount with the price. And this is a params in which we are just mentioning that we would like to do a leverage. We would like to do 2x leverage. After we are done creating the order, you will be able to see the order JSON object that gets written from the exchange when indicating that hey, the order is placed. After that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna fetch all the open positions. So open positions is going to be fetched using object called fetch positions, right? And we're gonna print all the open positions, and we will be fetching the total balances. Once we are done fetching the total balances, then what we have to do is we have what now we can go ahead and we can create another sell order of type market again with the amount and price which we decided previously, with again 2x leverage. And that is again going to open up your position. You can check your balance and you will see that there is some change in the balance, right? Currently I won't be able to run this just because I don't have any balance, but I can quickly show you how it looks like. So it basically loads the market. Once the markets are loaded, it places the order. Now this is the request that it makes. Basically, this is showing up my secret key and API key. I don't have any funds in that. It's a Kraken's one. And of course, I don't share your secret keys and API keys with anyone. So the error that I'm getting is, the margin that I am having isn't sufficient. So all those reasons. The reason is I don't have any funds, and that's the reason. If you will be having the fund, you are not going to have this kind of error. Okay. So let's again go back to our slide and let's see what's the next. So this is a simple basic usage of CCXT that we can use. So now, before we jump into the demo, I'm just going to give you a brief about what this demo is going to do. It's a CLI based, automatic arbitrage crypto exchange bot. So as an CLI argument, it is going to accept all the exchanges. It is also going to, detect if there is any trading arbitrage opportunity where you can make a profit greater than 6%. And then it's going to emit a message with all the details of which asset you can buy from which exchange, and you can sell it in which exchange, and how much of profit or how much you win of the assets that you're gonna actually make it, right? So again, I'm going to go back to the VS Code where I have created the same setup as I showed earlier, where, starting with this guy, I imported CCXT. These are some libraries which I'm using, starting with NC Color. So NC Color, I'm using it just because I would like to, have colored fonts appearing on the console, because this demo which I'm going to show is going to be on the console. Commander is a very popular library that you can use in order to parse the CLI arguments, and that makes code look very clean. So that's also one of the important aspect while you do the trading bot, wherein you are able to maintain the code in a long run. Then we need to display some, the financial data is very easy to read if it's displayed in tabular form. So for that, we are using the table. I'm using, a logger from a library called Ololog, which basically prints the time as well. So, when I'm logging all this information where what my bot is doing, I know exactly at what time, this price was there, exactly at what time the arbitrage happened, what was the time where the price of several assets was. So all that can be done using log. So I don't have to, do console log and get the new date every time. Here I'm creating an object of the command. Now, if you remember, command is the one that will be useful for parsing the CLI arguments. These are several symbols which I'm excluding just because of the fact that there are several exchanges sometimes which freeze the trade of some of the assets. So I'm just excluding just to not have some errors coming up on the console, right? Now you have to do some research where as to which of the tokens, which of the assets are being freeze or they are not allowed to trade. Generally, there will be some sort of announcement which will be done, or sometimes you will have to make some API calls to make sure that the asset is like working. So I have done that previously. So I'm just trying to exclude all this symbols, like symbols which I'm executing is Steam, BTC, RETS, NEO, and several other coins. All right, so whenever we'll be running this bot, it is going to start from this line number 94. So let's go and start arbitrage. All right, so what I'm going to do is I will be opening up terminal just because the fonts will be visible. And let me go to, all right. So make sure you are using latest version of Node if possible. All right, so what I'm going to do is I will be running the index.js in the project called arbitrage, okay? So let me simply run this. So here, once you're gonna run this project, you will be getting something printed on the console, and I will go through each and every line that makes this possible. So this CLI tool, expects you to supply supported exchanges. So this is a list of all the exchanges which are basically supported by the bot which I'm creating, right? So if you want like to do arbitrage, make sure you are having, you're dealing with, more than greater than equal to 2 of the bot, because for arbitrage, the foremost requirement is you should have funds in the exchanges which you would like to, work on. All right, so that's one thing. Okay, next thing that we need is to give several exchanges. For example, I would like to create arbitrage between Binance US and Coinbase Pro, for example. So just give the arguments separated by the spaces, and then you're gonna get like a tabular form where it displays uh, is there an intersection of the asset between Binance US and Coinbase Pro. So you can see that these are the list of assets which are possible to get arbitrage on Binance and Coinbase Pro. If there is no, then there is no point of buying and selling. So this is the list that you're gonna get. Now, for example, if XTZ to USD wasn't listed on Binance, then you will be getting a blank space here, which we'll be taking a look when we'll be looking into the code. Now, once it displays all the possibilities of arbitrage, after that, the next thing it shows is it makes the comparison between these two exchanges, Binance and Coinbase. So if you basically do the arbitrage between the two exchanges, then this is the profit that you're gonna getting, which is currently in minus. So this is not good, right? But here you can see that there are currently an arbitrage opportunity there on Binance and Coinbase Pro for REP to USD, where basically you can make 26.25% of the profit if you buy 6.69 of REP, 6.69 units of REP at the price of 18.88 USD, and then you can sell the same on the Coinbase Pro for this price. So you will be basically making 26% profit, right? So that is like the number step 0 towards arbitraging. So we will go through the code that how we can basically make this happen and how we can automate. So the next arbitrage opportunity that we have is between Sol to USD, where you can buy on Binance and you can sell with a profit on Coinbase with 0.74%. So in this code, I have set the threshold of 0.6%, not 6%. So if it's greater than 0.6%, because the thing is, there are trading fees on some exchanges which are like around 0.5%, and some if there is a slippage happening, then so 0.74 is a profit that we're gonna basically going to make if you do the arbitrage right now. Okay, so let's go through the code. What's going on here? So the very first thing that we are actually going to look is the number of exchanges that we pass should not be 1, otherwise there is no point of making any arbitrage. So what we're doing here is we are grabbing the exchange IDs. So the CLI arguments that we just passed are nothing but the exchange IDs. After that, we are printing what are the exchanges which the user wants to arbitrage. So the bot will print that. After that, we will be loading all the markets from all the exchanges, and the bot is going to see that is there a possibility of arbitrage if there is an intersection of the assets, and if there is a match, to be precise. So we're gonna save it in the dictionary called exchanges for the data of each and every exchange. Once we have that, we're gonna grab all the markets from the exchanges. After that, we're gonna get the proxies. So this is the proxies which we are using just to make sure that we are not having any, course related error whenever you would like to deploy this bot on any of the cloud platforms like Heroku. So, okay, all this setup is done. After that, we will be, making sure that sometimes you will not be getting the response in the first try. So we would just like to have, some tries. So we will be making like 2 tries because there are 2 URLs of proxies which we are using. And this all work is required for just loading the market data because that's very important, to trigger the arbitrage. All right, so this basically fetches the data, which is in the try block. After that, we are also, taking care of the errors that we are getting in a very sophisticated manner. Like if there is any, DDoS related error, we're gonna print that message. Hopefully, when we did just now, there is no such issues happening, so it didn't actually, throw anything. If there is a request timeout, which means that you are making a request and it's not coming back within the prerequisite time period, then it's going to throw the error, right? So either you can set the timeout period explicitly, or CCXT also has its own default setting. If there is any authentication error, so fetching of the market data is not does not require any APIs. So this is this is not going to be an issue in this case because we're not doing any sort of trading as of now. Then we have another error where if there is exchange which is not available. For example, you passed an argument as Coinberry. Now Coinberry is not being used by or supported by CCXT. So that's going to handle this sort of error. And there are several other errors which will be, thrown using line number 142. So what happens is after, the error is thrown, then we're gonna create like another try as well. So all in all, there are like 2 tries. There are 2 attempts that we made to, fetch the market data. Once we have the market data, we're gonna log this line, which just displays that, hey, the market data is loaded. So it is displayed in green color. After that, we're gonna, get all the unique symbols. Now it's a simple, intersection or simple mapping that we are using, that we are going to do in order to get, the unique symbols from both the exchanges. It's like if you talk about set theory, which we learned in our old school days, it's like, intersection of 2 sets. So once we have that set of the data, we will be basically, printing that into the table. So this is where the intersection of, 2 sets happens, because we need in order to, initiate the trade. After that, we are going to print the arbitrage symbols. So this is all the logic that does the same. It's a simple, JavaScript functions that we use, and you can get it from Mozilla Firefox if you don't remember all of them. Okay, after that, we are configuring the table as to what visual we want. So I just want a simple pipe symbol to separate 2 columns. So I'm just using that. If you are a dash fan, then you can just replace the pipe with a dash as well. After that, what we are doing is we are basically looping through all the common symbols that are in which the potential arbitrage is possible. So we are doing that. After that, I'm fetching the order book for all the exchanges, given all the arbitrage symbols that I have. So this is like another call which is being made. If everything goes well, I gonna have all the arbitrage exchanges order book with all the order book data for each and every arbitrage symbols that I have. Right. So after we have this, then the next step comes is of comparing. So here what we are doing is we are doing some simulation. We are doing back testing. So in trading bot, back testing is very important. You just can't have a way to just execute the order. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be with proper backtesting. So this is mathematical simulation which we are doing. So I am basically this code looks very complicated, but it is not. It's basically looping through all the arbitrage symbols, and it is also looping through all the exchanges. It is and looping through the order book per arbitrage symbol per exchange, right? So that's the reason we are having two for loops, because we are also iterating on every exchange, and we are also iterating per arbitrage symbol in both the exchanges. So once we grab all the data that we need, after that we are making some calculation on what is the spread, what is the opening price, what is the close price, is there any bid order, is there any ask order. So all of this logic is being taken care here, and once you have done with everything, and then when it comes to looking for if there is going to be a potential match happening, right? So if there isn't any match going to happen, then we will be skipping that particular iteration. Okay. The reason, the only way to make an arbitrage, if arbitrage is possible, is number one is it should be profitable. If it's profitable, there should be maker and taker available in both exchanges, right? So that's like some steps that we require for the back testing. So after that, if we figure out that hey, there is a pure profit that we are going to get after we do this arbitrage trading, and if it's greater than 0.6%, so you can see this line is very important, where all our formula to calculate the profit is being taken care of. So once this bot figure out that hey, this is like a good potential instance of trading, then it's going to print as per line number 73 that hey, please buy this much amount of units on this exchange for this much price and sell on this exchange with this much price, and you will be basically making a profit, win off, and it's going to create the profit the same way that we did it previously. So of course, in order to convert that into percentage, we multiply it by 100, and we are displaying that in green color just because it's like a good news. So once it's there, so after that we can create a notification. So here, you can make a push notification to your mobile phone if you're having an application, or here you can basically, initiate an arbitrage trade where you can use a method from CCXT library, which fetches the deposit address, which fetches the balance. You also need to have like the permission on the other exchange through which you can deposit, and from exchange from where you can withdraw. And then same way that I showed you to create an order, you can create an order, and that's where arbitrage happening. So this is rather than executing the trade, these are some of the important points to consider while making any of the trading bot where you need to simulate all the mathematical calculations. So that's where CCXT is helpful. Now, it's not feasible to like every time keep on running this bot. So what we could do is we can basically use a tool called PM2. So I'm again going back to the terminal where I'm going to, start the process scheduler. So it will be done using PM2. So PM2's documentation is very nice. So I'll just quickly go through what we need to do. So here we need to specify what we need to start a job. The job will be running through index.js, which is in file, which is in a project called arbitrage. So we need to run this file. Then we need to specify the cron job. So I would like to run this arbitrage, every, for example, 3 minutes. So I'll just give the cron expression as 3, and for in place of months, years, days, you can just put asterisk, and this symbol basically means that it's going to run every 3 minutes. Then we don't want to auto start. So this is a very important argument to give while running this process, wherein you don't actually want to make any, auto starting of this auto start of this bot if it is finished before 3 minutes. So that's how you can specify that. Next is about the log. So I need to get these things logged under a file named, say, for example, arbitrage bot live. Then we can directly start giving the arguments that are required by index.js, which means we would like to see the arbitrage possibilities between, for example, Binance US and Coinbase Pro. Right now, let's run. Okay, so PM2, right, just a couple of minutes and it is going to start the process. All right, so now what if you want to monitor what's going on? So just run the command called PM2 monitor, and that's going to open up full dashboard where you can basically monitor. Now, if you don't want to do npx, you can just globally install it in your machine and just run PM2 monitor, and that's where it's going to work. So you can basically monitor all the you can basically monitor all the arbitrages, and you can see here that there is again an opportunity between REP to USD of buying this much amount. So you can monitor. Even if you will be stopping this, it's going to be running in the backend as well. So if you remember, we are saving the logs into a file called arbitrage bot live. Okay, so this is where the data will be like permanently stored as a form of log, where it also has the time logged in the UTC format. It's the same data between Binance and Coinbase Pro, and we are just looking for some arbitrage. So again, like this, there is currently an arbitrage opportunity going on between Binance US and Coinbase Pro. So either you can go to Binance and Coinbase Pro and do it manually, or you can execute it using the arbitrage bot as well, right? Yeah. So what we did is we are actually running this cron job every 3 minutes. So every 3 minutes, it will fetch all the market data, and it will do all the algorithm that we have asked the bot to perform, and then it's going to make a decision based on the calculation that is there a profitable trade possible or not, right? But again, you should be mindful of there are several restrictions that may kept by the exchange, where you won't be allowed to withdraw to sometimes withdraw or deposit, or it may take some time to get your trade settled. So currently you are not able to see anything because our one cycle is now done. After 3 minutes, it's going to start running the bot again, right? So that's the reason. Okay, and then just press Control C to basically stop the stuff. So going back to our presentation, so that was the demo part. We looked into the backtesting. So as I said, it's just a simulation to evaluate that what will be the performance of our trading strategy. In our case, it was arbitrage. So basically, in arbitrage, it is a lot of combination where you can get exposure of learning how to create an order, how to make sure that there is a bid and ask price existing in both the exchanges and so forth. So how to do backtesting? So there is one way through candlestick data where we can do the backtesting. We have tick by tick trade data, but in our demo we used order book snapshot data, wherein we fetch all the market data, and whatever we got the market data in, we use that to calculate whether this is going to be a profitable trade or not, and that's where it displays everything in the console, and then we automated the process using PM2. So it's just like run, and then you don't have to worry about that. And the same command, by the way, if you know AWS or Heroku, you can just grab all this code there, and you can install PM2, just run there, and it's going to keep running on the cloud as well, right? So what is the snapshot data that we just now use is it's basically showing the exact state of the market at the time of which we are fetching the snapshot, and it's going to also display what are the orders which are available on the exchange at the time at which we are actually fetching. So this is all done. This is all computed by the computer, so we don't have to actually worry about it. We just have to ask them what and how to do the math. So at the end of the day, what you want to know is how well your bot is performing. So of course you need to make a difference of what is the final value of the portfolio and what is the initial value, and difference should be divided by the initial value, and if you multiply it with 100, then you're going to get the performance of the bot, right? So please feel free to explore more on the GitHub of CCXC, where all the documentation is there, and the class that we did today will be definitely going to help you to get started and make yourselves comfortable doing the trading through the API and automating the trading. That's what the bot is. It's like automation. So that's everything for today's live class, and I'm opening up the floor for the question and answer session. Yeah, sure. I can quickly show you how to deploy this to the cloud. So I'm not going to show you how to create the account and stuff like that, but I have some. Just give me a moment to fetch it from here. I have my own AWS box, so I'll just show you how we can do that. So you just have to make an SSH connection to your cloud. I have created an EC2 instance. So just push this. So the most basic way to deploy this on the cloud is just push it to GitHub, or you can use FileZilla. Get the FileZilla and upload this file to your EC2 instance. For example, I'm using Amazon. After you're done with this, for example, I have created CCXT bot. So create a file here. And I'm assuming that you have all the Node.js environment done. Get your files here and just run npm install. And all you have to do is just do PM2 command that I just now showed you here. And yeah, that's it. You need to do that much, and just do PM2 monitor, and you will be seeing that there is one more job added to this process list. So that's like the simplest way to deploy it on the cloud. Once you are done, just exit. So now you can see that I am now back to my own machine. So this is like a quick way to deploy. Yes, CCXT is only for centralized exchanges. Uh, if you would like to trade on the DEXs, then CCXT is not an option for you. You will have to use Web3.js for that. To get the data, you can use the graph protocol, and in order to make the transaction, you can use either of Web3 or Ethers.js library for that. But this is like focused on the centralized exchanges. Or I can type the name, Ethers.js, Web3.js, and the graph protocol. So Money Lego library is a good way. However, if you want to get like the polished data, then I would suggest to try the graph protocol. Julian has already created a tutorial on his channel to access the graph protocol. So you can go there and take a look. So we are having a very good question coming up on the Q&A channel. How do you know which amount of token is better than another to execute on the arbitrage opportunity? As I'm pretty sure the number of tokens traded affects the price slippage. Definitely that's going to affect the price slippage if there is a lot of volatility in the market. So if you looked into the example when we did since I'm trying this arbitrage opportunity since an hour between Coinbase and Binance, where there is a very less amount of liquidity happening. Like it is like between 0.01%, and still the arbitrage is there. Which means that if you do it like right away, and if your trade gets executed right away, again, that depends on the infrastructure of the exchange, then there is very less possibility of the price slippage happening. Yeah, but again, like price slippage is something which is decided when the trade is actually executed. So that's the reason I showed you to do backtesting, and it shows you how all the available pairs to trade on. Okay, so there is another question that we are obliged to rebalance the portfolio between all the different markets and for all the symbols traded. Um, it is by withdrawing. Yes, so definitely you will have to withdraw the assets from wallet on say Binance, and then deposit that into uh, you know, uh, Coinbase or Coinbase Pro's wallet, where you're gonna make like the profit. Um, but that can be made instantly, and it is also annoying. Is there a way to rebalance? So the thing is, when you are dealing with arbitrage, the best thing always to have that bot dedicated to arbitrage, which means that um, your asset which you are withdrawing from one of the exchange is actually not locked by any way. So your motive should only be towards just taking the advantage of that price difference. So that will definitely going to remove all the hindrances that may have, like if you want to if you have like a dot token on one coin, and there is an arbitrage for say for example Numerai, then that is not a recommended way to do. It's like you should have like USDT, and just only do the arbitrage if there is a USDT opportunity there. Yeah, it's just like you are just having an ETH and you are making a flash loan. You are taking the advantage of the difference on several DEXs. It's similar to here, but here in this case there is no sort of collateral that you are putting. You are having your own money, and then you're just switching from one wallet to another wallet. Yes, it is possible, and I already showed you in the arbitrage demo. So this is where we are fetching the order book, right? And it do have the historical data as well. Fetch order book is for historical. Can double check. Yep, fetch order book can be used for getting the historical data as well. So you can use this function fetch orders, not order book, and you can specify since when you would like to get all the orders and how many orders you want to get. So yeah, it's fetch orders, not order book. So fetch orders will give you all the history data. CCXT can be made faster if you have access to the WebSockets. And generally, WebSockets are available with some premium price. So yeah, this is an HTTP call, but if you have access to WebSockets, yeah, that's going to be like faster comparatively. Okay, I'm having another great question. If one has a chance to make a profit with this technique, if we are running our own program on not too expensive AWS instance, because the hefty traders are surely seizing those opportunities faster than us, definitely it's like, the same thing that happens with our traditional finance, setting as well. However, trust me, the instance that I just now showed you where, to quickly deploy, that's not at all expensive. It's a simple, tiny T1 tiny configuration of EC2 instance that has like 1 GB RAM. And it's not too expensive. Maybe you're gonna pay even less than $10 a month. But provided it can only withstand like 1 to 2 bots running, and you need to, take care about the logs getting filled up. If you are, pushing that into some DB, you have to make some cron jobs so that, DB gets clean and stuff like that. But again, it depends on the cloud provider's uptime as well. So yeah, these are all the factors that affects, and the fact that are you having an access to their premium, server or not. And as I said, WebSocket, if you have it, then you can definitely able to, cope up with other, traders that do the speed. But that is like something that you are doing in volume. Otherwise, sometimes it may happen that all your profit gets into the fees that you paid to get to, run the WebSocket. So yeah, you need to take all this into consideration. Yep, we still have some time if you have any questions. If you don't, then we can wrap up this live class. And of course, if you have any questions, you can still, get in touch with me via LinkedIn. Of course, we do have Discord. I'll try to, respond to all your queries within 24 hours. I would like to thank you all for listening patiently to me.